Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokemon Journeys episode 24, which was titled Take a Break, Team Rocket. This was the 1109th episode of the Pokemon anime, and I thought it was a fun little filler episode, which focused on Team Rocket. Let's take a look at the highlights and jump into my review. The episode starts with Team Rocket being given orders to go on a vacation by Matori, who for some reason is without her Alolan Meowth in this episode. Meanwhile, Professor Cerise tells Ash and Go about a rare Pokemon called the Lord that has been seen in the resort area in Sinnoh, so that's where we're going for the episode. It seemed pretty out of the blue that this episode was taking place in Sinnoh since it wasn't even mentioned in the preview last week. It does, however, show the creativity that Pokemon Journeys has to offer, since Ash and Go could literally go anywhere in the Pokemon world on any given episode. But, of course, wherever Ash and Go are, Team Rocket usually follows. The main storyline in this episode is that Team Rocket are supposed to be relaxing on vacation, but they keep running into Ash and Pikachu, which makes them very conflicted. Meanwhile, Matori also happens to be in the resort area, carrying out a mission with her hand-picked elite unit, which is presumably the Matori Matrix that featured in the Krozma arc during Sun and Moon. That being said, there's no sign of Gozu anywhere, and same goes for her Alolan Meowth. Oh well. Go catches a Goldeen and a Magikarp while they're fishing for the Lord, and I was a little disappointed that Ash wasn't using Misty's special lure for this. With the help of Team Rocket, Go manages to fish up the Lord, which turns out to be a giant Magikarp, which has an epic splash attack. He catches it with relative ease, making this his second giant Pokemon that he has caught so far. Just then, Matori's plan is set in motion, as she and her squad steal a ton of Pokemon. Ash and Go step in to help, but they're no match for her unit's Pokemon, which happens to feature Purugly, Skuntank, and Toxicroak. Funny how when they're in Sinnoh, the evil team's Pokemon happen to be the three aces of the Team Galactic commanders. Matori even manages to steal Pikachu during all of this, which really irks Jessie, James, and Meowth. They want to foil her plan so that she can't get any of the credit, so they decide to help Ash and Go save the day. After leading the boys to the stolen Pokemon, Go uses his giant Magikarp to distract Team Rocket, while Ash and James free all of the stolen Pokemon. With the tables turned on Matori and her squad, they retreat. Jessie and James had planned to steal all of the Pokemon for themselves, but they decide to run away instead so they don't get caught. Back in Kanto, Matori tells them to get back to work, and the trio is happy to see her fail in her mission. Over at the Cerise laboratory, Go's giant Magikarp shows off its impressive splash, and the episode comes to a close. I'm giving this episode a 6 out of 10 rating. The episode was harmless filler, so I don't want to be too hard on it, but it just didn't really do much for me. I like it when we get to see a little more of Team Rocket's perspective. For example, their mini boss fantasies were a good throwback, but things like Matori's Alolan Meowth being nowhere to be seen were kind of drawbacks in my opinion. Don't really know why they wouldn't include him in this episode, since it seemed like a pretty easy way to keep continuity going, but instead they just kind of threw that away. As for Ash and Go, I already mentioned how I thought it was cool to see them travel to Sinnoh on a whim, but their investigation into the Lord was a little unsatisfying in my opinion. I think that the giant Magikarp was supposed to be a reference to how it's possible to fish up to level 100 Magikarp in the resort area in the games in Pokemon Platinum, and maybe this giant Magikarp will evolve into a giant Gyarados one day. Now that would be cool. Even though I'm only giving this episode a 6 out of 10, I still really enjoyed it. I just thought there were a couple small things that they could have done to make it a lot better. Next week, on the other hand, has a ton of potential, so I really want to talk more about what's going to happen next. The next episode is one that people have been anticipating for a while, where Ash is going to make his long-awaited return to the Kalos region, and Korrina will also return as well. Korrina traveled with Ash for a short period during the XY series, and then they went on to have one of the best gym battles in the history of the anime. It looks like this tournament that's happening next week will be at least somewhat related to the Pokemon World Championships, Pokemon World Coronation series, and there are a few theories going around about this episode involving the tournament. I definitely think we'll get a flashback or some backstory explaining Korrina and Ash's history together, and I'm guessing these two will face up in the finals of the tournament. If it's a one-on-one match between Mega Lucario and Dragonite, then I kind of feel like Korrina should win, since Ash hasn't really battled much with Dragonite yet. That being said, some people are predicting that Ash will win this tournament, and that the prize for doing so may even be a Mega Ring. People really want to see Ash Mega Evolve his Lucario one day, and this could be the first step towards that happening. Personally, I doubt that will happen though, and I think it's more likely that this episode will just give Ash some more points towards rising in the ranks in the World Coronation series. I still really hate that name, by the way. Either way, it has the potential to be the best episode of Pokemon Journeys so far, so I can't wait for next week. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, and leave your thoughts about this episode, as well as your predictions for next week, in the comments. I'll see you guys next time.